UFC 239. We got the prelims. I want to start off with Gilbert Melendez taking on Arnold Allen. We see that Gilbert Melendez is the fighter with more experience according to the tape. He's 22-7. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. He's up there in age at 37 years old. They're both 5'9". Arnold Allen is going to be the younger fighter, being 25 years old. He holds a record of 14-1, so he's only lost one time, and that was due to decision. Most of Arnold Allen wins are tied at 5 apiece. They're at TKO or a decision. He beat Jordan Ronaldo, where I was really impressed in his last performance. I think his striking and his speed is pretty much his best attributes going into this fight. We know that Gilbert Melendez is coming off a long layoff. He hasn't fought since September 9, 2017, but most of his wins are by TKO. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. He lost to Jeremy Edson, Eddie, and Pettis, so he lost to two former champs. He only holds one win in the UFC, and that was to Diego Sanchez. He was a Strikeforce champ. Then he made the transition to the UFC and pretty much got thrown to the wolves. You know what I mean? He had to fight Benson, and the fights kept getting tougher and tougher for him. It's going to be the fighter with more experience, but I think Arnold Allen, being the younger, fresher fighter with less miles, should be able to get it done. I really think his speed and his striking is going to play a big role for Arnold Allen to be victorious here at featherweight. So my pick is Arnold Allen. He's more active, and that's why he should be able to get the job done here. So we move on to this bantamweight showdown. We got Marlon Vera taking on Noelin Hernandez. I really like Marlon Vera, Cheeto, getting the job done for the fact that he's the fighter with more experience, holding the record of 15-5 and one draw. He's 26 years old, so he's going to be the older fighter by 1 year. They're both 5'8" tall. And, Cheeto looked good in his last appearance against the one and only Frankie Science, where he TKO'd him in the first round. Most of Marlon wins are by submission. He holds 7 submission victories on his record, and he's on a 3-fight win streak here. We know that Hernandez, his opponent, is making his debut here in the UFC, but he has a solid little record here. He's on a nice win streak as well. He's fought in LFA, so he's fought in solid promotions where you could build up, nice experience. He also fought in Bellator 199, Bader versus King Mo, where he picked up a win. So he's fought in solid promotions. Most of his wins are by decision at 6. And, he's only been subbed and lost a decision once. So Hernandez is a pretty tough dude, and is a guy that we got to take serious. He's making his debut, so we don't really know how he's going to be able to do under the big lights for the very first time here in the UFC, fighting in front of a lot of fans. So that could play a role here in this fight. I really like Cheeto getting the job done here just because he's the more comfortable fighter at the UFC. And, UFC jitters is definitely a big thing. So we're going to move on to this UFC strawweight fight. We got Claudia taking on Ronda Marcos. I really like Claudia getting the job done here for the fact that she's going to be the fighter with more experience, holding the record of 16-4. She's going to be the younger fighter by 3 years, being 30 years old. They're both 5'4". Ronda's coming off a big win over Angela Hill. She's 33, so she's the older fighter. And, she holds a record of 9-6. And, she subbed Angela Hill in the first round. She made that look pretty easy. Most of her wins are by decision or submission. She holds 4 submission victories as well. So pretty much her strong point, is pretty much her grappling. They both have something in common. They both lost to Nina Asaronoff. Claudia, she was a woman who fought for the title 2 times. So, most of her wins are by submission or decision, tied at 7 apiece. And, she's coming off of a loss, so I think she's going to be hungry, come out there and pick up a W and get back in the winning column. So my pick is really going to be Claudia here. I just don't see this fight really hitting the mat, just for the fact that they're both so strong at grappling. I think it might come out to be becoming a stand-up fight, and I think Claudia should hold the edge in the stand-up department and get the job W here. So we got Alejandro Perez at bantamweight taking on Yandong Song. I like Alejandro Perez to get the W here. just for the fact that he's on a big more experience here. He holds a record of 21-7. He's 29 years old, so he's the older fighter by 8 years. They're both 5'6". The reach is identical here. And Perez is coming off of a loss to Cody. It was a very tough fight. I thought Alejandro Perez did well. I was impressed with him, even though he came off of a loss. And his takedown defense was on point against Cody. Cody couldn't really take him down. I thought Alejandro was getting the better of the exchanges on the feet. So his striking's pretty much a strong point. Most of his wins are by TKO at 9. He's lost by submission 3 times. So his submission defense isn't the best. He lost 3 decisions as well. But before that, he was on a solid win streak. He beat Eddie Wineland, who was a former WEC champ, so that's a big accomplishment he holds in his MMA career. His opponent, though, is on a big win streak here. And we know that Yandong Song, he's a tough fighter. He's fighting out of China. Most of his wins are by decision at 6. He's coming off a big win over Vince Morales. So Vince Morales is pretty much the biggest name he has on his record. The other guys that he's fought, they were all out like in China, man, and out in Singapore. And so his opponents aren't really the highest level of competition. I mean, these guys aren't really people who return to the UFC. Some of these guys just fought one time and we've never seen them again. I think Alejandro Perez is going to be the toughest fight he has, and I really think Alejandro Perez should get the job done. So we got to go with our boy Perez getting the job done. As we move on to this middleweight showdown, we got Jack Marshman taking on Edmund Shabazian. I like Edmund Shabazian. They pick up the W here. He's the fighter with less experience, holding a record of 9-0. He's 21 years old, so he's going to be the younger fighter by 8 years. He's going to hold a reach advantage going into this fight against Jack Marshman. Marshman is the fighter with more experience, holding the record of 23-8. He's 29 years old, 6 foot. So, our boy Jack Marshman is coming off of a big win over John Phillips. Some people thought Phillips actually won that fight. Most of the Marshman wins are by TKO at 13. He's fought high-level competition. Guys like Antonio Carlos Jr., Carl Robertson, Thiago Santos. So he's fought tough guys. He has a lot of experience going into this fight. So that's pretty much the biggest key for him for victory, just his experience. But I think Edmund Shabazian should be able to get the job done here. He started off in the Dana White Contender Series. So, he has a lot of hype around him. He beat Darren Stewart and made quick work of Charles Byrd. Most of his wins are by TKO. So he has power in his hands and he can end the fight. So, I think skill level wise, Edmund Shabazian should be the better fighter. So Edmund's going to be my pick over Jack Marshman. So we move on to this welterweight showdown. We got Chance Recounter taking on Ismail Nordiev. I really like Ismail getting the job done, the Austrian Wonder Boy. Wow, was I impressed with him. He took a fight on short notice against a very tough, dangerous guy like Prazares, and he came up and, he pretty much shocked a lot of people with picking up the W. He holds 11 TKOs on his record, so most of his wins are by TKO. He's on a 3-fight win streak, and I was impressed with him on his last performance, especially taking a fight on short notice and gets a high-level grappler like that. And to do the way he did says a lot about him. But, Chance is a tough guy as well. He's coming off a big win over Kyle Stewart, where he subbed him and made it really look easy. Most of his wins are by TKO. He has 6 TKOs. He holds 4 decision wins as well. He's never been TKO or sub. He has 3 decision losses, so most of his losses are by decision. He's a taller fighter, being 6'2", so that might play a role in this fight. But I like Ismail getting the job done. So yeah, that's gonna be my pick for that welterweight showdown. So we jump into the first fight, the last one I'm gonna break down here. We got Penny taking on Julia. I really like Julia to get the job done, even though she's making her debut and she's the fighter with less experience, holding a record of 6-1. Um, See Penny, she's fought on the Ultimate Fighter before. She's 11-4. She's from Sweden. Tough girl. Um, but I just think that, Julia should be able to get the job done. Most of her wins on her record are by, decision or TKO, tied at 2 apiece. Um, and she's fought in Invicta, so she's fought in pretty much the best promotion for women MMA before they can make the transition into the UFC. Um, and like I said, Penny here, you know, a decision win. So most of her wins are by decision. Penny, and she lost to Macy Chason. So she lost to a tough girl. That's nothing to be ashamed of. And I just think that the girl on her debut should get the job done. So I think it's gonna be Julia. It's pretty much my picks here for UFC 239, the prelims. Thank you guys for watching.